Welcome to Frankfurt, where I've just landed after an amazing 14.5-hour flight on the Queen of the Skies. Now it's time to head back home to Heathrow. I have a connecting flight with Lufthansa in business class, the last flight of this incredible itinerary which took me all the way to South America. I was sad to be coming home, but also excited to check out one last lounge. So on this leg, traditionally I'd have access to the Lufthansa Business Class lounge with my business class ticket. But thanks to my American Express Platinum card, with a business class ticket in Lufthansa, I am able to enter the Lufthansa Senator Lounge. It's sort of like a first class lounge, but more of a frequent flyer lounge, comparable to the BA First Lounge at Heathrow. One of the best things about having access to a decent airport lounge is the ability to take a shower before and after every flight. It really does make a difference to feel fresh again. It makes the next flight much more bearable as you forget about how long you have been traveling for. There was also a spa here. It's not included in the lounge entry, however. You can see the price list here. Have you ever had a treatment here? Let me know in the comments below. I had already spent way too much money on this trip, so I passed up the opportunity to have a treatment, and I went on through to the lounge to enjoy everything else that was included. It was quite a large space with different sections, starting with this large seating area. We then move on to the dining area and a self-service bar with a substantial selection of spirits for those of us who are over 6 foot high. There was a couple of beer taps, water taps, and of course, plenty of wine. I was hoping for something even slightly premium in this Senator Lounge, but in the sparkling wine category, sadly, all that I saw was Bouvet Sapphire, which retails at around £20 per bottle, not exactly very premium. I took one for the team though and poured myself a large glass. Sadly, it was only wine glasses available for the drinks. I tried to ask for a flute, but the staff spoke very limited English. Eventually we got there and they confirmed there was no flutes, just wine glasses. Aside from the self-service bar, the piece de resistance of this lounge is this bar, which comes equipped with a friendly bar staff who can make pretty much anything you want, as long as it doesn't require a champagne flute. There was a fairly large selection of drinks in the menu. I went a bit off-piste and asked for a mojito made with tequila instead of rum. The bar lady offered to make it for me using Sprite instead of soda to make it sweeter. It was a nice touch and definitely something I'll be asking for again in the future.
Yeah, very nice. Nice and sweet now, yeah.
Moving on then, I explored this area of the lounge which had a few sofas, and something I was particularly excited about was these lounge chairs with excellent views of the tarmac. As I settled down, the bar lady brought me over some chocolates to go with my drink, and I sat there and enjoyed the view just as the Queen of the Skies was taking off. It's moments like these that made me think I made the right choice taking this trip. Feeling a little bit merry after the cocktail, I then went over to check out the food. They had some sort of Tex-Mex theme going on with the buffet. Not overly premium, but plenty of choice here, and slightly different to the usual chicken and rice that you'd get in most lounges these days. There was also some desserts and a selection of fresh fruit. Of course, there was a coffee machine and also ice cream, which I thought was a nice touch. I made myself a wrap, chomped on a chicken wing, and properly got into the Mexican theme with a Corona. They only had these tiny glasses to serve the beer into. Not ideal. It probably would have been better just to drink it out of the bottle. After a good couple of hours in the lounge, it was sadly time to head over to the aircraft. Gate B22 wasn't too far away. The gate area was busy as we waited to board our A320neo. But being in business class, I was able to be one of the first on board, avoiding most of the carnage. Lufthansa Business Class on short-haul flights is similar to most European carriers, with just an economy seat and the middle seat blocked off, although the legroom did seem quite generous here looking at it. I am 6'3" for reference. We did also have individual air vents. I settled in, and before long we were doing a rolling takeoff on runway 7 Charlie, which after an immediate left-hand turn took us right over the centre of Frankfurt with a rather good view of the central business district. My seat of course had a tray table, which was handy when the crew came round to give us some food. It's the same stuff I had about 2 weeks prior to this on my way out. A very dry, cold chicken dish and some sort of custard dessert. I was surprised to learn on this trip that Lufthansa short haul does not offer a menu. There's only one choice and you get what you're given, that's it. On the contrary, the cups are proper china mugs, which I think is a nice touch, and you do also get some chocolates after the meal, which again is a really nice touch and an easy win for Lufthansa. The crew were very pleasant and friendly on this flight. When they learned I was returning after a long trip away with Lufthansa, they offered me a cup to take home with some goodies. The logbook is for children, which did make me laugh, but it was a really nice touch, and I actually wrote into Lufthansa to compliment this crew. I made a point of explaining that having recently flown 14 hours in Lufthansa first class, this short haul crew created a far better experience for me. I felt like they really cared about their passengers, going the extra mile to make it a great flight. Arriving back at Heathrow, the weather was perfectly clear and we were treated to some excellent views of London on our way down to runway 27 left, with a good view of the British Airways Concorde that has sadly been left to rot. So that concludes not only this flight but the entire series of Lufthansa from my trip to Argentina. It was great to be able to experience a Senator Lounge with just a business class seat. It wasn't the best lounge in the world, but having a shower made the flight a much more pleasant experience. The bar was excellent and the views were just the cherry on top. Thanks for watching, and please do subscribe to see all my upcoming videos as soon as they're released.